everybody, I am here today with a recipe my family loves. These are the lasagna roll-ups. They're super easy to make, super easy to get out of the pan where you don't have to dig. I serve it up with garlic bread and sometimes a side salad. And if you want to see how to make these delicious roll-ups, just keep watching. I'll show you exactly what you need to do to make them. Okay, so I'm going to be showing you how to make this family favorite of mine, the lasagna roll-ups. Now, it might look complicated. It's really not. It's just a matter of having the right ingredients, and you can always use a store-bought sauce. I'm going to be making my own sauce tonight, but you can always use a store one to really make the process a lot simpler. So let me run through the ingredients, and then I'll show you how we make it. You're definitely going to need some type of casserole pan, so I'm just using this Temptations one. And being that it's lasagna, you're going to need one package of lasagna noodles. I really don't like whole wheat for this. I just like the regular lasagna. You're going to need about a pound of ground beef, ground chuck, or whatever you have on hand. This one is lean. You're also going to need one medium onion. You're going to need 1 can 28-ounce crushed tomato. This is organic because it's going to be a big part of the meal, so I went ahead and got organic on the tomatoes. You're going to need a few cloves of garlic. I have 3 here. 2 or 3 will work fine. You're going to need some dried or fresh basil. I'm going to use dried, and this one is 1.5 teaspoons. I'm also going to use about a half a teaspoon of some dried oregano and about a half a teaspoon of just some standard Italian herb mix. That's what's going in the sauce. You're also going to need some cheese. You're going to need some cottage cheese or ricotta. I grew up with cottage cheese in my lasagna, so I use cottage, but if you like ricotta, go ahead and use ricotta. You're going to need 1 egg, 1 large egg, and then you're going to need some different cheeses. So I got mozzarella, and these are both mozzarella. They both were on sale, so I got both. You're going to need around 2 1/4 cups of mozzarella at the least. I'm going to grate this up. Fresh is best, but if you're in a hurry to make this on a weeknight, buy the package. It's not going to be near as good, but it will be tasty still. And then I also got this mix of Asiago, Parmesan, and Romano cheeses, and that is also for the lasagna. You could use about 3/4 of a cup of Parmesan and about 1/3 of a cup of Romano. I'm just using the standard mix I found at my local grocery store, but you can use whatever cheeses you like. And you're also going to need some salt and pepper, of course, and some wax paper. And that's important because that's what I used to make them on. And I don't know if I said it or not, but you're going to need a little bit of olive oil too. So the first thing you want to do in this recipe is dice up your onion. Make sure that your meat is thawed out and ready to be cooked. And get a big pot of water on to drop your lasagna in. So get a stock pot going with water to a boil. And in this skillet, I added a couple tablespoons of my olive oil. My ground beef, you could use ground round, ground lean grip beef. You could use ground turkey if you wish. With the diced onion, we're just going to get that nice and brown. For the pasta, it's really easy. You're just going to add a couple tablespoons of olive oil to your water to keep the lasagna noodles from sticking. Then I like to take just some kosher salt and put it right in. Nice handful. And then I'm going to drop my lasagna noodles right in. Gonna fan them out, and they will separate when they cook. So when it's fresh mozzarella, you can't really grate it that well unless it's almost to the frozen state. So I just crumble it with my fingers, almost like you would with a blue cheese. Just crumble it, and it will be completely delicious. Be sure to stir and break up that beef or meat as much as possible. So I have drained this, and I'm just taking a potato masher easily through the meat just to break it up a little bit more, because you don't want it too chunky. It'll make it hard to roll up the lasagna noodles. So as I said, I drained off most of the fat. Just do that in your sink with a hot water running so it doesn't clog it. And then, once it's browned up, just add in your crushed tomatoes. You're going to add in your basil, and I'm just doing it in my hand. You just want a small little handful. Like that, right in. You're going to want your oregano in. I'm doing the same thing, small little handful, right in. And then I'm going to take my Italian herb and sprinkle some of that in too, just to give it an extra kick of flavor. We're going to mix that up really well. Turn it on low. Excuse my arm. Okay. Stir it up. Mix all those wonderful flavors together. You can, like I said, just use a jar spaghetti sauce, but you know, it's so easy to make your own. You can do that really quick. I also like to add just a pinch of sugar at this point. It just makes things extra fresh. So it's all mixed up well, and all I'm going to do is keep it down on low. I'm going to put a lid over it and get the cheese mixture ready, and that is ready. We'll just let it simmer until we've got our lasagna noodles done and we're ready to assemble. I almost forgot, what would a good pasta sauce be without garlic? So I'm just using my garlic press, but you could either smash it on your cutting board, or you could also just put it in whole. But see how easy that makes it happen? And I just take a butter knife and scrape it off. I'm going to put 3 in. There's 2. And the last one. Scrape it off. I'm going to stir that in. Mix it up well. Put my lid back on and get my pasta in the water. So I chopped up a little bit of parsley to go in our cheese mixture. I got the fresh mozzarella ready. And now we're going to make our cheese mixture with the cottage cheese, or if you're using ricotta, just go ahead and use that. For the cheese mixture, I'm going to be taking about half of this, maybe a little more than half, 3/4 of a container of the cottage cheese. I'm going to break in 1 egg. I'm going to mix that up really well. Blend it all up. I'm going to add in a bunch of fresh salt. A bunch of fresh pepper. my fresh parsley that I just chopped up. I'm going to mix that really well. And then I'm going to mix in about half of my mozzarella. Right in. And this is the time you would add your Parmesan also and your Romano. And I'm going to open my little bag here and add a nice generous amount of this blend of cheeses. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of break them in. Yum, it's going to be divine. Okay. Mix all that up and wait on your noodles because you're ready to assemble once the noodles are done. And I'm going to set up for that next. Be sure to stir your noodles around once they're down in the pot so they don't stick. Beautiful. Okay, so I've made kind of like an assembly line. I have all of my, well not all, but I have a bunch of the noodles laid out on the wax paper. I have my meat sauce, the noodles, my cheese sauce, some basil, and my casserole dish. I also have my salt and pepper out, and we're going to get assembling these. So let's get our casserole ready. I always just spray it with some non-stick spray. So just spraying it. And then we're going to take some of our delicious meat sauce that we made, or a meat sauce from a jar, and just lay it in the bottom. I'm just pushing it over just to make it easier. Not going to want a ton. Just a little bit more. And get some meat sauce in the bottom of your casserole. So now it's time to assemble, and these couldn't be easier. I like using the wax paper just because it's easy to work on. And all you're going to do is take, let me get a spoon, it'll be easier, get that out of the way. And here's the spoon. You're going to take your meat sauce and you're going to add it to the middle of the lasagna noodle. Just like that. I'm going to do that to all of them. Usually, one lasagna roll per child is enough, and 2 for my husband is more than enough. 1 for me is enough per serving. You should have your oven preheating to 375 degrees if you haven't done that already. I don't know if I mentioned it already or not. Couldn't get easier. And this makes it so easy to get the lasagna out of the pan versus, you know, having to cut those squares that sometimes work and sometimes are messy. And now all I do is spread on some of the cheese mixture. So straight down over that meat, add the cheese mixture. You can just add little clumps of it. Like so. Down the lasagna roll it goes. This is so much easier than making normal lasagna. I don't know if I'll ever go back to making lasagna the normal way because this is just so much easier. And then, once you get your first set done, all you do, let me start in the middle so you can see, all you do is pull up and roll. Just roll it carefully and kind of make it as tight. And if you have to push in on the meat, just go ahead and do it. Roll it up. And then you're going to put the cut side down right into your casserole. Okay, let's do another one. And sometimes I overfill these. It's just part of it. You can skip it back up and put it on another lasagna noodle if some come out. But I would rather overfill them than underfill them. You can roll it to you. Careful or it might come off on the floor if you have it on the counter like I do. So let me move it. And just keep rolling it up. This might not look pretty at first, but it will be very pretty when you're done. Cut side down. Let me move it so you can see. Cut side down in the baking dish. Again, roll it up. And keep pushing the meat in with your fingers. If it comes out on the sides, pull it up. And you get a beautiful little lasagna packet. And it goes right in casserole. Beautiful. The kids can help with these too. Mine is upstairs on the Xbox, so he's not really wanting to help with dinner. He just wants to eat it. So I'm alone in the kitchen tonight. But my family loves this meal. Roll it over and right into the casserole. There's your little lasagna roll. One more on this end. This one's going to be full. Okay. Got room for about 3 more in that pan. Let's get full ones. You can use just the little pieces if you want. It doesn't matter. And I'll probably make some of these to freeze. Because if I have it left over. And see, I'm just taking that mixture that came out of the other ones. Putting it straight on. I need to add some more. Just a little bit more. Add some more of the cheese. Again, you can just kind of put it out in little sections. And roll it up. Your fingers and hands are going to get messy. Beware. It's not the end of the world, I promise. Need another one. Okay. Cheese. Roll it around. We got room for one more. Okay. So last noodle of the sponge anyway. There's an extra stuff on it, but that will make it extra good. Some meat sauce. Cheese. Roll it up. And in it goes. Just like that. So let me get cleaned up and I'll come back and show you how to get those ready for the oven. Okay, so I have all of my lasagna rolls in my pretty casserole. I'm going to take the leftover meat and just kind of scatter that along the top. Let's kind of get it over the top of your noodles. This is so hearty and delicious. Just get all of the rest of your sauce right on top. Doesn't have to be perfect. There's sauce on the bottom you can lift up and bring up on top. And now we're just going to finish with some cheese and put it in the oven. So I'm sprinkling over some of the remainder of the fresh mozzarella over both rolls of lasagna rolls. Both rows of lasagna rolls. That kind of runs off the tongue, kind of sweet, don't it? Okay. And then I'm going to take some of that cheese blend I bought, but you could use Parmesan, Romano, whatever you want, and I'm just going right over that roll of lasagna to make it extra cheesy and delicious. There we go. Look at that. And then, just to get it ready for the oven, and just to make it extra pretty, I'm going to sprinkle over and tasty some dried basil just right over the top of the cheese. And now we're going to put it into a 375-degree oven and bake for about a half hour, about 30 to 35 minutes. So here's how mine came out of the oven, and they were in for about 35 minutes. If you're worried about your cheese browning, you can always tint it with foil. I really don't find that necessary. And I've got my oven turned down for my garlic bread, and I'm just going to let this sit out while I get this in the oven, and I'll show you how I plate it up in just a minute. So here's how I serve it up. I take a little of the extra cheese, put it on top, and I sprinkle a little more basil on it. I serve it up with some garlic bread. A side salad would be absolutely wonderful. I'm just tired tonight. Don't really feel like doing it. So this is our dinner. These come out so easy of the casserole. They just lift right out. No more cutting the lasagna and having to dig it out. This just makes it so much easier. And this is a delicious meal any time of the year. Super easy to make. Just follow the instructions. Again, you can use a canned sauce to make it faster if that's something you want to do. But, you know, making your own only takes a few minutes. So the recipe is in the down bar. You can check out more pictures and info on my blog at kjaggers.com. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you make lasagna roll-ups, if you plan on making this one, and if you do, take some pictures, upload them on my Facebook page. I'd love to see them. Thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you really soon. Bye-bye.